Okay, good morning, everybody. Hendrik was a little bit in time issue, so he will not be here today. I will try to give you an explanation about the land administration domain model. And I will introduce this with the help of examples. And these slides were originally developed by Grit Lemmen, working at Netherlands Cadastral and University of Twente, ITC. I made some small changes. So I hope that, today after this lecture, you have understanding how, say, the real world situations with respect to land administration, how they are registered in a system, in a land administration system, what information is stored, represented, what are then the main objects in that model. And you can think back of the UML exercises. When you store information, okay, what are the key concepts? What are the attributes? How are these objects related? What are the relationships between them? And in a bit more detail, here's a list of topics that you should be able to understand. Okay, the ownership rights and shares and rights, mortgages, so loans to finance your property, usufruct, long leases, apartments rights. For restrictions, the servitudes will be discussed. Transactions, so changes and versioning to keep track of the history. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My fault, completely my fault. So, I should go to Zoom. Full screen. So, sorry, we're not showing the slides online, but okay, you now see on the slide what I told you. And okay, this is based on the earlier knowledge about the legal foundation of land administration terminology. And that was introduced in lectures 1 and 2. So this is a small real-world town, municipality, little village. There are some roads, some buildings, some parcels. And actually, this is the so-called municipality of Water River. So here you see a more colorful map with the land use and some other objects, topographic objects. So step by step, I will take you to these registrations in this town, in this municipality. And okay, first, what are we going to register in land administration? First of all, the tenure security. And that will also be the main focus of the lecture today. And for that, we see typically parcels with parcel numbers, so the blue things, and the white numbers. Sometimes they can be very small, like in this corner over here is Water River 22 parcel, which is just tiny, so it's enlarged in the corner. Buildings are also put on this map. Topic of property, real estate property, land administration. Second purpose is land valuation, land taxation. And here you see that some parcels are now getting a different color because they are non-taxable. So it does not make sense to attach a value to it. And that is the parcels owned by the government. For example, a road, or the area where the school is located, or the municipality offices. And so they are excluded of the valuation and taxation system. And the third purpose is to use land administration as a basis for spatial planning. And here you see the areas with their land use. So yellow is municipality functionalities, schools, offices of the municipality, light green agriculture, blue is the water. There's a park area, dark green, water river number 10, and there's a small park, water river number 15, very narrow. And this paper is a label and a stick. It's often used when the parcel is too small or too narrow to put in the parcel number, so people can still understand what parcel it is, the identification. And the last type of use is industry. This is dark orange. And in red, of course, the buildings for people to live. And in white, the urban areas, so not so many urban areas in this new rural town. Okay, how does it work with the rights and the shares? This is the municipality, the cadastral map. These were the roads. And if you look careful, you see that this parcel water river number 20 does not have any access to a public road, so that is an issue. So how does the owner get to his parcel? In the upper right corner of the map, there is the parcel for the school with a big playground. These are the offices and the services of the municipality. Water river number 18 contains an apartment building. Does not look that big when you look at 2D, but in reality it is taller. This very small parcel in the corner is electric power distribution box. And therefore so small, does not need more space. Okay, now we are going to look at, say, a normal parcel. It is water river number 1, and that is owned by Carlos. So next to the parcel, you see an association to ownership. So that parcel has a right attached to it, and the right holder is Carlos. So that is the connection. Person, the right, and the property. In LADM, this would look like this. In green, we have the person, or in LADM terminology, Land Administration main model, it's called a party. Then we have the right. Okay, it's the first right in our system, so we call it right number 1. And in between the right and the parcel, we have the basic administrative unit. And for now, it is the one-to-one relationship. In other cases, it will be needed more. So why is this needed? It's not so clear from this case. And actually, in the Netherlands, we don't have this basic administrative unit. Or in other countries, they do have it. And I'll show you why. So here we see the second case. Then two persons, Elizabeth and Thomas, they own together the parcels 2, 8, and 10. So we see again an association from the parcels to the ownership right to the persons or parties, Thomas and Elizabeth. And here you see that it makes sense to have this basic administrative unit, because it's a kind of collection of the parcels that are in the property. And so a property can be more than a single parcel, it can be multiple parcels, it can also be other things, like the buildings included. So the property is the administrative unit, and attached to that is the right, or are the rights. In this case, there are, say, two persons each having equal share in this basic administrative unit, in this property. And so that is indicated in half ownership of these rights. And so here you see the two halves that make up the complete ownership. So it's one property, 3 special units. Yeah, please. Yeah, go on. Yeah, and that you have equal rights on that property. And that means that you have to agree on important decisions, what to do if you want to build a house on it or if you want to sell it. So half a property does not mean that the property is split into half, and so left and the right side, but that you both have equal rights to the whole property. And there can be other shares. So, for example, if the parents passed away and they have 4 children, then the property is transferred to the 4 children with equal shares, so they all have 1/4. And there can be other non-equal shares, that somebody has 2/3 and another person has 1/3. That has influence on, say, things like taxation. If you have a bigger share, you have to pay more tax. But in principle, yeah, it's a complete right. Undivided over the whole parcel, but there are multiple persons involved. And okay, on the right side again, I hope it's clear. On the right side, we see again that the single property is associated with 3 different spatial units. So I will use sometimes the term which is more common in the Netherlands, like parcels. And the term spatial units is the term that is finally agreed in the land administration domain model. The same as the parties are sometimes called in the land administration domain model. In the Netherlands, they're called persons. Okay, here we see that the municipality owns a lot of properties, the roads, the schools, the office, the facilities, and also the park is owned by the municipality. Also for the municipality, we have the same construction. Same, yeah. Not sure what's a good place. So all the parcels of the municipality are grouped into one administrative unit, and they are all owned by the municipality, which is a party number 4 or person number 4. Then we have another normal person and the cooperation. Anna is owner of parcel 4, but not by herself. Also, the cooperation is owning that parcel number 4. And the cooperation has also a lot of other properties. So, looking at the shared property, there could be 2 ways of modeling this. The top one is a bit similar to what we did with the 2 half shares. So there's one property, parcel number 4, basic administrative unit number 4. And the right is attached to the unit. 9 out of 10 shares are owned by Anna, but this corporation has 1 out of 10 shares in the right. Another way of modeling exactly the same situation in LADM, and there is no way of saying what is better, is that the 2 persons, the 2 parties, make a group or a consortium. And then the right is not split into 2 shares, but the right is completely attached to the consortium. And then the consortium has members, and Anna is a member, and the corporation is a member. The corporation has a smaller share, exactly the same, 1/10, and Anna has 9/10 share.
I had a question. Hello?
So we saw the shares.
Can you hear me? No?
And the shares were moved to the group party and the members of the group party. Rohit, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I had a question with these 2 methods.
I cannot hear you. Sorry, I'm probably muted.
Oh, that's right.
Wait a minute. Can you try again, Rohit?
Yes, can you hear me now?
No, I can still not hear you.
Okay.
Let me check. No, it seems to be. That's annoying. We cannot hear you.
I can. I can.
Yeah.
You hear me now? Yes? Can you hear me? No? Hello?
Speakers. Okay. Try again, Rohit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's very loud.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Well, I had a question about those 2 types of methods. Does it matter for the if you are a consortium, is that the same as being a company, or?
Yeah, there can be all kinds of consortiums. You see it often in the situation of companies, but it does not have to be a company. And so the consortium is a non-natural person, and that can have as members natural persons, but also other non-natural persons as members.
But then it might have legal implications if you are a person or a non-natural person. So one might be better for them, right? I mean, do they have more rights as a company or as a natural person?
There are indeed legal implications, and the reason why we support both types of modeling is that different countries have different rules and what they think is the proper way to register this. So there are subtle differences, but in general, it's roughly the same.
So they do not have, if there's like a dispute with another party, they wouldn't have more rights, it doesn't have more weight being a company or a natural person.
No, I would think in both cases you have a problem if you have a dispute. And then in this case, because one party is clearly having a larger share, that party would have the strongest opinion, strongest vote. But that depends on national legislation. Yeah, if there are special rules for different types of parties.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Robert. So here we see the map together with all the objects, and the cooperation has 3 ownerships. One was discussed before, that was together with Anna, and parcel number 4, BEA unit number 4, property number 4. The other ownership, which is called right number 5, attached to property number 5, is a collection of parcels 9, 17, 20, and 21. And for some reason, parcel 11, that's the parcel over here, is registered by an own right. At this moment, you could say, why are there different rights, the 5 and 6? I would say you are completely right. Right number 6 could be removed, and property number 5, BEA unit 5, could be extended with parcel number 11. That would also work. But quite often this solution is chosen because there may be restrictions on one of the parcels, and you don't want to restrict your complete property, but just a specific parcel that is having this restriction. Okay, these were the basic rights and shares in rights. Now have a look at some additional concepts, and that is the mortgage and usufruct. And this is this parcel number 11. Parcel number 11, I forget who was the owner, so let me quickly check back if you can find it. Okay, that was owned by the cooperation, the bottom line here. This parcel number 11 is also restricted by the usufruct of the municipality, so the municipality can use it. And therefore, that was also the reason why it was not in the big basic administrative unit of this corporation, because only this parcel has the usufruct. That's the usufruct. This is not even a simple usufruct. There's also a mortgage attached to the usufruct. So if the parcel is owned by somebody else, but you want to use it, then the owners will say, okay, fine, we can make an agreement on that, and we can register that. But then, you have to pay me some money for that right, because I lose part of my rights. And okay, municipality obtains that right, and that has a certain value. And because of the value, you can also get a mortgage on usufruct. Normally, you get the mortgage on a property, like a parcel or an apartment, but you can also get it for another type of right, in this case, usufruct. By the way, the usufruct is a right for the municipality, because it's allowing the municipality to use this parcel in a certain way. But it's a restriction for the owner, because the owner has to tolerate that the municipality is using this parcel. Okay, so the mortgage is attached to the usufruct, and the mortgage is offered by a bank, the capital bank. So how does this look in our registration? So there's one parcel, number 11, one property, number 6, BA unit number 6. There is one owner attached. That's the top row. We already knew that. The corporation party 6 is having the ownership right. But in the second row, we see that the municipality has the usufruct rights on this same property. And attached to the usufruct is the mortgage. And the mortgage is the reason why the bank will give you this loan, this money. And it's a restriction on that right. Normally, if you have a right without a restriction, you can do what you want. But the mortgage is a restriction. And probably you cannot get a second mortgage on it, at least not for the same value. Right? Yeah.
Is the line missing between mortgage and usufruct? Because in the previous image, it did have a line connecting.
Actually, I think that this line should be gone between mortgage and the BA units.
No, but also in the image between mortgage and usufruct, there used to be a line.
Okay, here, yeah, here is the line gone.
Okay, that was.
So I would say we have to remove this line here. Remove this line here, but at this line, and probably I should make a note, or I can draw on the slides. That is probably the best. Then I don't forget.
But is it now possible to have two mortgages on the usufruct and on the parcel itself, or not?
Yeah, because both have a value. But if you give away the usufruct, then the value of your normal parcel will go down.
Okay.
Remove this. I would. Yeah, in a sense, you could say the mortgage is also attached to the parcel, but it's indirectly via the right usufruct or via the ownership right. And so mortgage. Yeah, it's also not needed because via the mortgage and the usufruct you arrive at the same property.
And who is liable if the mortgage cannot be paid? I mean, because you could see the one with the usufruct right? Or also the owner?
Sorry, Rohit?
Who will be liable? I mean, the mortgage is connected to the usufruct right, so the municipality will always be liable, but not the corporation if it cannot be paid, for example.
No, the corporation is not involved in that transaction. It is, say, the municipality and the bank that agree, okay, municipality say, I have a right, or I want to obtain a right, but I need money to finance that. And then the bank is agreeing, they make a deed, hypotheekakte in Dutch, a mortgage deed.
But the thing is, what will be the collateral? Because if you have a mortgage on a property, then the bank can claim it if you do not pay it. But how can you have a collateral on a usufruct right?
The use right is the collateral. And so the use right has value.
Okay.
And you could say that's part of the original property. Like Hendrik said, with the bundle of sticks. So complete property has many aspects. And building rights, using the property as it is, selling the property, getting a mortgage on the property, that are all different types of rights. And
but can the corporation? Go on, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so because of this restriction, the corporation cannot just sell its property because of the usufruct rights being given away.
But does the corporation need to accept that? I mean, the usufruct right is the collateral. So if the municipality is not able to pay the mortgage, will the usufruct right instantly pass to the bank,
Yeah,
even though the bank doesn't have a contract with the corporation? So
yeah.
the corporation, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
And so the bank gets the usufruct right, and the bank can do what it wants. It can sell it to a third party, or it can sell it back to the corporation. So that is the value that the bank is then yeah, getting out of this security.
okay.
And by the way, I'm doubting about these dashed lines over here, if they should be there or removed. I will probably check it in the break and give you the answer to be really sure. Okay, we continue. We have some parcel in the center of the town, and there's a housing company having, being the owner of all three parcels. So this is the situation, and for some reason, these three parcels are not grouped into one property. And the reason why that is happening is that there are probably other rights or restrictions attached to one of these parcels. Okay, here we see the housing company has three different rights on three different properties relating to the three different parcels. And here we see the reason why. So the housing company is having three persons that have a long lease or hold a long lease on these three individual properties. The first one by Maria and Johan, they have a long lease on parcel number 12. Building number 12. Anton has the long lease on building number 13. And James has the long lease on building number 14. So if we focus on parcel number 12, and we have on one side the ownership by the housing corporation. And on the other side, we have the long lease. And you could see long lease or lease also as a kind of stick out of the bundle of ownership rights that is taken away from the housing company, and it is given to Maria and Johan, and not given for free. So they have to compensate the housing company financially. In the second, okay, sorry, now this is the first case, still parcel 12. You see that also the long lease rights can be split into halves to represent equal shares between Maria and Johan. So not only full ownership rights, but also other types of rights that can be subdivided in shares. It's always important that the sum of the shares is 1, of course, here. And then they would be called in LADM terminology a group party with 2 members, a man and a woman. So that would also be the case. And you could probably say, depending on how they are married, one right, and there is one person. In the Dutch is the term gemeenschap in goederen. That means what one owns is also owned by the other. So even if one is registered in the land administration, the land registry, it automatically means the other has the same right. It is more fair if you would register both, even if they would be having already these equal rights. It's just more fair. So parcel number 13, and the building over there is owned, or not owned, is leased, long leased by Anton. It's a simple situation. The housing company owner, Anton, having the long lease on the same property, property number 8. But here we see Anton is needing money to finance his long lease right. And okay, long lease rights have two aspects. It is kind of similar to acquiring the long lease, like buying. So amount of money you pay once, 100,000 euro for that parcel and that land, and the building, so you can then be assured that you can use it. And because you are not really becoming the owner, you have to pay every year a certain interest, say 1,000 euros per year to the owner. Hendrik explained that this type of construction is often used in the new neighborhoods in the bigger cities in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague. The municipalities have done this construction so that not the housing company, but the municipality is the owner. And say the private persons are then the long lease holders. Because it gives them a stronger position in case they want to renovate the whole area, take down buildings, make new roads. Long lease is very close to being an owner, but a very small bit less strong, so a bit weaker. But you have to buy a long lease, so same as you have to buy ownership rights. And you probably pay about the same amount of money. Maybe if this was not a long lease parcel and a building, it would be 110,000 euro when you would buy it. So when it's long lease, it's a kind of a disadvantage. Probably the price is cheaper and you pay 100,000 euros. But you also have to pay every year the interest. And you have the kind of legal detail that you are not the owner. Okay, but to buy the long lease on parcel number 13, Anton did not have enough money, so he did go to the bank and he got a mortgage. And the mortgage is a restriction on the long lease. And it's attached to the same parcel. So here we have again the same doubt I had before. But by now, I think my doubt was not correct. And that the link between the mortgage and the parcel is correct. So this diagram and also the other dashes were correct. So the mortgage is also attached directly to that parcel, but connected to the long lease, because that is where it's restricting. Looking at the diagrams, and I will not put any more dashes here, but before Rohit makes the comment, here is the mistake. Where is my drawing? No, not here. Here is the mistake. This is missing. The link between the lease and the mortgage in the small diagram over there. So that is actually the only thing that was wrong with the diagram, this one and also the one before. So if you look at the bank, it had a number of mortgages on property 6 and on property 8, which is parcel 11 and parcel 13. Now we have the last parcel owned by the housing company, and it's leased by James. Here there is nothing special and no mortgage needed. We have this simple situation. Okay. Last topic before the breaks is apartment rights. That is on parcel number 18. There is the big building. The people living in the apartment complex always form an association of owners, always. That depends on the country. In the Netherlands, it is an obligation. It has to be. Vereniging van Eigenaren, VVE, the Association of Owners. And yeah, they are basically also the owner of the land, the parcel on which the building is standing. And this association of owners is not only owning the land, but it's also owning the common areas in the apartment building. So here there are 3 floors. The roof is owned by this association of owners. Roof needs maintenance, renewal from time to time. The apartment gallery, so the walkways, how to get from one apartment to the next apartment and to the staircases. And of course, the staircases or elevator and other utilities, also common. So all these building elements are common property and owned by the association of the apartments owners. So quite often there is a subdivision of the parcel number in apartment units. And these apartment units, 18.1, 18-2, 18-3, are grouped in a single basic administrative unit. So here we see the whole situation about the association of owners of the apartments. So they own the land, parcel number 18, and they own the common spaces or common elements in the building, 18-1, 18-2, 18-3. 2 different types of ownership. Okay, what is special about this case? What do I think is special? Maybe you also find it a bit special. Any clue? This is the first time that we are not happy with the 2D map. Until now, we could put everything on a 2-dimensional map. So this is the first situation where we needed some additional 3D representations. In this case, the building model. Now we're going to have a look at the individual rights, the apartment rights. So there's one apartment at the top floor in the corner, in the far away corner from the elevators. And this is owned by Monique, but quite often there's not only the main apartment, but also some related parts of the apartment, for example, the laundry room or sometimes a cellar. In this case, it's the laundry room. And also Monique has a parking lot outside, which is her individual property. And I think you can guess it. These 3 different units in or around the building, the apartments, the parking lots, and the laundry room form one property, one basic administrative unit, one apartment. And okay, we call them 18-4, 18-5, and 18-6, these units. And it's a new basic administrative unit number 12. And okay, this is how the private ownership, appartementsrecht in Dutch, is registered. So one person, party number 14, Monique is having an ownership, full ownership, right number 16, on the property, which consists of 3 units. Of course, the building is full with other similar rights. I will not go over the whole building. But if we look at the situation of Monique, so Monique has the private rights, but Monique is also a member of the Association of Owners. And so via her membership of the association, she also has shared rights to the common parts, the land, the roof, the elevator, corridors. And so this is the whole situation of Monique with respect to the legal rights and spaces. Okay, that's it. Before the break, let's have a 15-minute break, and then we continue with the other concepts. I will stop also the